Yes, we are. Hey, Jan, how are you in the south of Drôme Provincial? Excuse me.
Drôme Provençal. I'll have to get my name and my area up there.
Yeah, we have to do it. Yeah, I have mine. I'm in the French Alps. We will do that. We'll try to do that for next week.
Yeah, Drôme Provençal.
It's interesting. We talk about food, and you're in a store. I love that. I love it.
Yeah, I'm in a food store on top of it.
Store, and we talk about food. I mean,
yeah.
Hello.
Something's going right.
Something's going right. Very good. Well,
yeah, you mentioned something that you wanted to talk about.
I wanted to talk about. I saw this. I discovered this on Netflix, and I don't know. I'm not trying to promote Netflix, but there's this 4-part documentary called Cooked. C-O-K-K. C-O-O-K. I can't spell. E.D. Cooked. Normal.
Yeah.
No funny playing with the words. It's based on a book, and I watched the first. It was an author, and the author was kind of leading everything.
Can you watch it on YouTube, or did you watch it on the telly?
No, I watched it on Netflix.
Oh, Netflix. That's right. You did.
You could probably find the trailer on YouTube, and if you go to Netflix, you can watch the trailer. The trailer is really easy. And what was interesting, the guy starts talking, and it's very interesting is that it's broken up. He talks about 4 different: fire, water, air, and earth, and it's all related to food. So the first one is fire, and he says that we're the only species that actually cooks its food, and it's what's made. And I didn't know that. It's obvious.
Well, but who?
Hello.
Cute. I know it's not something that we really think about, but who else did you think cooks their food?
I don't know. Are the chimpanzees cooking their food, and we don't? Are the cats going? Toys. Anyway.
What? That's a blonde, bald senior joke.
It is. That is. It's like, well, hello.
Yeah.
And he said is that when we learned to cook is when we became human. That's when we became human, and
I'm sure theologists would question that, but I see what he's trying to say.
And the brain got bigger, and the jaw. If you look, he said he talked to he was an anthropologist, I guess, talking about how much time animals spend chewing. As humans, we eat very quickly, whereas animals, rabbits are always eating and they're always chewing because they have it's raw. They're reading everything raw, so they have to. And it's just interesting about that idea that when we learn to cook is when we learn to be human.
Wow, that's interesting. We could take that.
We could take that. And so I saw the first episode.
Yeah, but it's interesting. When I first came to France,
we don't say when.
Yeah, Jean-Luc, my first husband, he was real into eating raw at the time.
Okay.
And there's a whole group of people that eat uncooked foods, and it's a movement, or it's a group of people that believe that when you cook the food, you change its the elements and the whole thing. Yeah. So for about 7 or 8 months, I ate nothing but raw food. I mean, we'd eat nuts and raw vegetables and fruits. And actually, one time he bought tuna, and I ate raw tuna, and it was just like it took me a long time to eat tuna after that. But I can tell you, actually, we were living in Grenoble at the time, and it's cold, and I can remember sitting down to this meal on the floor. And eating cold cauliflower, and just and it was a winter's night. It was really cold, and anyway, so I guess there was 7 or 8 months where I was not human because I didn't cook them. But anyway, it was a good experience. I lost so much. I was already a lot thinner. I was quite young, but it was kind of tough. But that's interesting. I did look at the guy, and isn't there there's a sign in Brittany which has fire, water, and
air.
And air, yeah. Probably. Not earth. Yeah. There's a particular sign for those 3 elements.
The 3 elements.
And And I did see, you know, I did go on Amazon and I saw this guy wrote a book called Cooked, and just, you know.
That's it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Paul, I think. I can't remember what his first name is, but he's
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
No,
Michael.
Michael Pollan. Yeah,
Michael Pollan.
He's talking and stuff. It's kind of funny because he talks about with fire. They talk about barbecues, and he says, you know, men are always doing barbecues, but he says it's a lot of bullshit. You know, all you do is you start a fire, you cook the meat, and that's it. But men, they make it into this big thing, and they're talking and they're drinking beer and stuff.
It's strange now what we associate with, you know, barbecue, and there's all these different kinds of barbecued sauce and barbecue rubs, you know.
The rubs, dude. The rubs were pretty good. They were doing though. It was good because they showed a guy, and I didn't know that they did this in the South, in America. In the South, they would cook. They actually had the big barbecue pits, and you have the pit master.
Oh my God.
Pitmaster, he shows this guy, and they cut a pig in half, and they cook a pig.
Well, you know, they do that in Hawaii.
Yeah, they do it in France too, but it's
they do it with but I mean, so it's called a pitmaster. It's a special machine then that does it, or?
Well, it was a person. They called it a pitmaster. It might be a brand, but what I remember, we did it one time. We've cooked where my wife comes from. One time we cooked ham, and what I don't think we realized, and other people didn't realize, it took a long time to cook a whole ham. It's really hours and hours, and like 8 or 9 hours or something to cook a whole ham. Whereas a sheep, because I've seen sheep are much quicker to cook. I didn't realize that, but I've seen my in-laws do sheep, and they have the sheep turning like this, and they have a machine.
A mishri.
Yeah, mishri. They do that, and that was the name. Anyway, so that was my thing.
So this episode, when are you going to watch the next episode?
The thing is, it's the Netflix, so anytime I want.
Okay.
It's on demand. You have Netflix, it's on demand, so it's really really good.
Okay. Well, I'd have to check that out. But it is interesting, everything that is happening with food, and interesting for us because we live in France, and it's such a big thing here, and they're so, you know, well known for it. But I've caught a few documentaries in English on some of my English channels about, even at Stanford University, there's a group of students or engineers, young people that are really doing different things with food, separating the elements or the vitamins from the this or the that, and then bringing them together in a different way. So it's really interesting to see. There's so much going on with food and the different ways of that, you know, like I said, just even this guy talking about that's when we became human.
Well, we became human, yeah.
I'm not quite sure what we were before that, but it's interesting the perspectives and the perceptions of that people have of food and their relationship to it all around the world. So
that leads into the meal of the week that my wife made was a pot-au-feu, the pot au fire.
Pot au feu. Yeah. So what did she do that's different?
Well, she buys them, and you can, in France, you see the kits. You probably see them. They have the kit. They have all the vegetables.
Yeah, you can just buy everything all together.
What she'll do, though.
You just cut out, Jeff. Okay, now you're back.
I'm back. I'm sorry. I'm having
issues that's
here.
Okay.
Anyway, so basically what it is, you have to pressure cook the vegetables, which are, different sets of vegetables, celery, turnips if you want, etc., and meat too. She does it with meat. It's also done with meat, pressure cooking meat. What she'll do is she'll pressure cook it for about an hour. Then she removes most of the vegetables. She leaves some behind, takes out the meat, and will then use the water that's left to make a soup. And the water that's left has the taste of the meat, and it's really good.
Right. But I think what you have to do is kind of, because what I do is I cook the meat, I boil it. I don't put it in a pressure cooker just because I have a big pan. But anyway, and you have to, depending on what meats you put in, like I put in the cheek and
Okay.
and the jarrette. There's a couple different pieces, but it puts out kind of a foam. Not, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know. It was I think she was.
You have to skim this part off.
Oh, okay. I didn't. What the meat that she was using? Usually, you can buy the meat that's for the pot-au-feu in France.
Yeah.
I believe.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but there's three or four different kinds of meat.
There's three different. Normally, it's not. It's kind of a poor person's meal, because you kind of.
Well, yeah, but it's such a
Historically.
good one. Yeah, it's such a good one for winter because you do have all this, and you know what they do? What's typical about a pot-au-feu, or what makes it really good, is you put in that bone that has the marrow in it,
Oh yes.
and you can buy just the bone with the marrow in it because that's what you want to put in it, and that gives it a real flavor and some really vitamins because of the marrow. And
Yeah, the marrow too. Yeah, absolutely. And you have
yeah,
everything kind of in there mixing together.
sure. And all those vegetables, like I say, I love it with it's just such a great recipe to eat turnips with.
Turnips, exactly. You have turnips. You have the carrots. You have
Carrots, potatoes,
potatoes.
celery, and you can put leeks in.
Leeks. They put leeks in too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things you can kind of put in whatever you want.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the beauty of it. And there's, like I say, you can use the meats that you want. But the cheek, and there's two different kinds of meat that are really fondant, that just really kind of fall apart and melt. They're just really easy to eat. You don't have to.
Part about it. Everything really gets tender, and it just the
Yeah,
meat.
absolutely. Because certain pieces of beef would not be good in there because cooked in water, it just becomes, like leather. So that is important. Yeah.
Okay.
But a good pot-au-feu. I think I'm going to make couscous this weekend. I bought some really good merguez.
Oh, all right.
And I'll put it on duck soup. I've been busy all week, so we've just been eating homemade soup and a piece of ham every night.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, yeah, but the soups are good. Anyway.
All right.
So, well, listen, have a great weekend. It looks like we're going to have bad weather, but, that can change.
That can change, too. Weather changes quickly.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and just so you know, my husband's got some exciting news. He was able to get tickets. I don't know if you're a rugby fan, but there's the Six Nations. France is playing in the Six Nations in rugby, and the big game is France-England.
He got tickets to the game.
He got tickets to the game in Paris. Yeah, so he's really excited. That's a big game. That's a big game. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So,
all right.
Okay, well, listen, have a great weekend.
You too.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Ciao. Bye.